Gorgeous Sunday. Have the red zone on in the background and enjoying some time off here for the 49ers take on the Rams. Monday Night Football. It's going to be good, and I think that the 49ers have a good chance to turn around their little bit of a skid here to begin the season. They didn't look good at all against Denver last week on the offensive side of the ball, and they're going to have to look better against the Rams there. So, the Rams, they don't have Von Miller anymore, and that means that their pass rush is nowhere near as good as it was in 2021. In fact, I've got Von Miller on the TV right now playing for the Buffalo Bills. So the Rams miss him. They're also worse along the offensive line because they don't have Andrew Whitworth anymore. Their former left tackle retired. There's also injury issues for the Rams up front. So Coleman Shelton, who normally is their guard, is starting at center, and they're starting to pair new guards in this game. That plus the fact that Joe Noteboom hasn't been good at all at that left tackle position against good competition. We talk about Von Miller. Von had 2 sacks against him in the season opener when Buffalo played LA. 8 pressures for allowed in that game by Joe Noteboom. So this Rams offensive line just isn't impressing anybody. Stafford has already thrown a bunch of picks. We could talk all we want about the 49ers offense struggling against Denver, but this Rams offense has not consistently found its stride yet. Their best performance was last week against Arizona, but again, the 49ers are going to challenge the Rams defensively in a similar or greater way than Buffalo did in week 1, and the Rams weren't up to the challenge in week 1. So, I call these games tractor pulls, right? You hook up 2 tractors together, and both of them are just trying to out-torque each other, going in opposite directions. It's not a pretty sight. It's an ugly thing. We saw a tractor pull in Denver last week. The 49ers, for a while it looked like they had more torque than the Broncos, but they just couldn't quite get it to the goal line there. They couldn't quite punch it through with a score or just a knockout punch that would have, put them in firm control of the game. And they left the sliver open for Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson beat them at the end. I think in this one, we're going to see similar dynamics. I think we're going to see 2 strong defenses work against offenses who have had, some trouble here as of late moving the football. But I do think that the 49ers defense is stronger than the Rams defense. And I also do think that the 49ers can't possibly be as bad as they were offensively against the Broncos, against the Rams. And, maybe a big part of it is that the Rams without Von Miller are nowhere near as good as the Broncos were defensively. I think that might have been a top 3 defense that the 49ers faced last week in the Denver Broncos. I will say that when you look at the matchup with the Rams, you can't ignore what they're going to be doing in their secondary. They're going to be trying to play some tricks on you with 2 players, and one guy's not technically in the secondary, but first, Jalen Ramsey. Obviously, he's there on the back end. He plays a star position. That's what they call it for the Rams. He's going to be all over. Nickel cornerback, outside cornerback, a little bit of safety, even outside linebacker and some passing alignments for the Rams. Garoppolo, Shanahan, we talk about the partnership between those 2 guys. Play caller, quarterback has to be on the same page. They have to account for where Jalen Ramsey is at all times. Last week, Patrick Surtain was like glue on Brandon Ayuk. And we, talk about the need for quick release for Jimmy Garoppolo. That's how they beat the Rams last year. Well, if Ramsey is on Ayuk in this game and he's stuck to him just like Surtain was for Denver last week, it won't be good for the 49ers. Because the 49ers need quick separation. They need to scheme it, and then they need to execute it with their receivers. They need quick separation against the Rams DBs, especially Jalen Ramsey. They've got to get some openings there so that Garoppolo can get rid of the ball quickly, because the 49ers are obviously playing without Trent Williams at left tackle. So that's huge. And the second Rams defender that you have to watch is Bobby Wagner. They didn't have him last year. He's been a Seahawk for his entire career up until this season. But I think the Rams signed Bobby Wagner because they were tired of the 49ers running down their throats 44 times a game. And that's exactly what the 49ers did in week 10 of last year. It was just paper cut, paper cut, paper cut, paper cut. Boom, you looked up, and the Rams no longer had any time left on the clock, and they were down by 3 touchdowns. I mean, the 49ers outpossessed them. They outmuscled them. They controlled game flow. And the 49ers tried to do that to a lot of teams, but it seemed that their 6-game winning streak against the Rams before the NFC title, it seemed that in that game, that was the 49ers' ball control, run heavy, execute third downs with the pass attack on steroids, right? And the Rams, they didn't have good inside linebacker play at any point of the McVay era until this year. It's much better this year with Bobby Wagner on the field. And much like Jalen Ramsey, they can move Bobby around. He's also a great blitzer from that linebacker position. So it's obviously something for the 49ers to track. And again, we talk about the Garoppolo-Shanahan partnership. Well, those two guys need to know where Jalen Ramsey is at all times, and they need to anticipate the movements in the middle of the field on Bobby Wagner because Bobby is an all-pro, future Hall of Famer for a reason. He might not be in his physical prime, but he's smart, and the 49ers are going to have to win this chess match on offense against the Rams to fairly complement their defense in this game. All right, so I do think the 49ers are going to win. I do think it's going to be a tractor pull. My predicted score is 14-13 49ers. And make sure you check out the article that's linked in the comment section because that is the 10 observations and some further predictions for this game. All right, everybody take care.